I kind of, when I do my hoppers, I always like either red or fire orange or fluorescent orange or whatever. So I got, this is Flymasters, Danville's. And this is their Masters, which is supposed to be equivalent to, I think it's 6X, but it's supposed to tie like an 8. So decided I would use that for the thread because I like the red color for the body.
70, Daniel.
Yeah,
This Flymasters 6i
yeah.
is 70, Daniel.
Is it? It's close. Well, 70 is an 8. 8X.
8 on.
Yeah. Or
They
8
call
on.
it
Yeah,
6i
yeah.
For some
Yeah,
reason.
yeah. It's supposed to be a little bit stronger, anyways. They're saying.
It's
Anyways,
nylon
but,
versus
yeah.
other stuff.
And I actually like it. I've kind of gone away from the UTC.
UTC is horrible shit. Excuse me. It frays.
Oh, I forgot my stacker. Just bear with me here, guys. I think that's supposed to be this. So I don't like deer hair, number one. So I don't bother with deer hair. I got some dyed red elk. So I take a little bit of the red elk here and yeah. Just trim off a little bit there. We don't want a whole pile of it. We don't need a big bunch of it. So I just enough to get some red in there. Again, that's part of Roman's theory. When he was doing the essay hopper, he found that the red, for some reason in it, just caught fish better. And I don't have it stick out very far past the bend of the hook either, so. Give it some loose wraps, so it's, and just tighten it down. And then your thread breaks like that. And the coating is causing my pressure sensitivity to go away tonight. And we'll just trim that off a bit. And I went to the thinner thread. You could likely got away with the 3/0 thread, but I don't like making the shank stick out that much. And then I bring it back so we can, I don't know, it's about 2/3 of the way up, I guess, on the hook shank. Then I use my cheating material, Zap-A-Gap. Don't leave home without it.
I fixed a pair of sunglasses with it one day.
Oh, yeah. Actually, my wife, we broke a piece of plastic off the air conditioner, or no, the fridge on the camper, but it was on the outside part. And she said, well, here, glue this piece together. So I used a Zap-Gap, fine, no problem. Next morning, couldn't move it off, break it off. And she said, well, I'm going to go and put it outside. I said, well, you better not glue it outside. But with all that rattling, going 32 kilometers up off of Rock Lake there, gravel road, it's just going to just break off. Still on there. Zap-A-Gapped her on. So,
So anywhere in town you can buy those small bottles of it?
you know what? I haven't seen it.
No.
The fishing home might.
No.
I think
Yeah, the big bottles.
I think the only way to get these is you have to order them directly from the Whitlocks.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got 5 or 6 of these around somewhere. But anyways, what I'll do is, for the wing I decided, again, because we're in the western waters a little heavier, we would go to elk hair again. And I'm just going to put this here just to get it up and ready. And you don't need a big wing on this because the body's going to float most of it anyways. Then you can use almost any color you want. I've got some red, I got some green, I got black at home and tan at home. But I've only been using yellow, so we'll use yellow now. So we'll take the Zap-A-Gap again and just put just a little bit on, just. And I just take and I just bring this level with the eye. If you go by, I guess it's okay. And I take this pretty gently because again, I don't want to bulk it up. And that's what my biggest fear was with the whole fly, was having a great big gob underneath when it was floating, a gob of thread instead of something that looked neat. And I think that's Zap-A-Gap helps that out too a little bit. And then I cut it off just past the tail. And the other thing by doing it this way too then is you can actually trim it right here. It makes it a whole lot easier. Doesn't really matter with the head, but you can if you wanted to. I just ordered a set of foam cutters for Chernobyl ants, so next year they'll look better. So anyways, I didn't like the idea of his stonefly wing material, whatever that was, and I decided on using elk hair. We just took the elk hair. And here I decided not to be forceful with the hair, if you will. And what I did is just placed on there pretty well the length of the body. And I let it loosen off so it spreads out a bit. So this way when you pull it tighter, it's going to spread out so you got a little bit of the wing going over top of the body, okay? And like I said, I didn't get too forceful with the wraps, and I didn't use a whole pile of wraps. And the reasoning is, what I did is I trimmed it off so I still had a little bit of a tag left out there. And the reason for that is you know that if you didn't tighten it down tight enough, that thing is just going to blow apart. So we went back to our trusty dusty. No, I didn't. I lied. I missed a step before I did the trusty dusty. I picked out the colored legs, and I always like red or orange in my legs, or my legs being orange. That's why I wet weight it quite a bit, so I can get tanned up pretty nice. So the legs are pretty red or brown. I like this pumpkin seed color. It seems to work pretty nice. And believe it or not, when you're sitting down tying these things and you're not jerking around or anything like that, they tie up really quick. A lot quicker than it's going to tie up tonight.
Guess if most pictures are to be believed, the color doesn't matter.
Yeah. But it does in some ways, unfortunately. Doesn't seem like it. What's that? And again, I'm not really forcing that down. Keeping it tight, but not just tightening it right down. Then, once you've got to this far and you put your Zappa Gap on, don't touch or pull your legs or your legs are screwed. And what I do, oops, before I get too far ahead, I always have a strike indicator on my hoppers. I like orange. Does it make a difference? I don't know, but I know I was fishing with one buddy with an SA hopper. He had no strike indicator on it, and I had an orange strike indicator on mine, and I was catching 3 or 4 fish to his 1. And that was the only difference between the SA hopper. So is it something in the color? I have no idea.
Wouldn't you be able to see that yellow though from quite a distance?
You know what? What's that? Say it again.
Wouldn't you be able to see the yellow from quite a distance?
You know what? Likely you could,
Yeah.
but I just put that little extra. You don't have to force yourself. Yeah. And I use tan a lot. And once you start going into some of the different colors, they're a little harder to see too, eh? Then what I like I do, is I just put a dab in there.
How does the Zappa Gap affect the rubber on the legs?
It does if you pull it while it's still wet. Okay, but if once it's hardened up, then no. Okay. Okay, the reason for the Zappa Gap now is those ends that are sticking out are going to be all glued in now, and they're not going to come out of there. You could blow that part apart, and they're going to be still stuck together. And you just take your strike indicator, and I should have left a little bit here. And because you got the Zappa Gap in there, again, you're limited to your wraps because now you only got the wraps holding it. Shit. Thank you. The most important thing. And you can trim that thing off. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't before I do the wet finish, which I should have did tonight. Didn't do it. The wet finish is usually a lot easier than I'm making it, but gotta screw up every once in a while. What the hell? And there you go. So like I said, and it works bejeebers. First time I tried it out on the Freeman, and first 5 or 6 casts I caught a fish with it. My witness isn't here. Dave Robinson was with me, and he just shook his head, couldn't believe it. But that's it. I've come down to the extended bodies and short shanked hooks this summer, and I really like it that way. Like I said, you can do it in tan, which I've done. Done a tan one. Then what I started to do, and this is where it starts to come in really neat, is you can do it down smaller. And there's a little black one, doing it down smaller, right? And then I went to one where instead of using deer hair, I just used the poly wing. So you can do all kinds of things with that extended body. So you can do your ants that way if you wanted to. You could do your yellow sallies and lime sallies and all that. So nice little pattern. It works. It's easy. As I said, if you're at home tying them, it only takes minutes to tie the thing.